Howdy, Chris here. Today we're going to put a critter-proof net over a single planter using our prototype trellis. This is a heavy-duty bird netting that we're going to be putting over here. We're going to secure it on the bottom with a bungee. That way when we want to access the bed, we can flip that up. I've went ahead and laid this over. Step one. As far as how we're going to do this, I have an idea in my mind, but we're going to work through it together. So let's look at the materials we have. So I'm calling this the critter proof for the single planter. What we're going to need is bird netting, heavy duty. This stuff you can't rip apart with your hands. It's about the thickness of a pencil lead. We're going to need bungee cord, at least 20 foot, 25 feet. I'll see how much we use. Zip ties and patience. I've not done this, but I think we're going to need patience to do this. So let's get started. All right, I think I got this figured out. As I start at the top, I pull it together and I pack the extra back there, and I'm going to start zip tying as I work my way down. As I get further down, there's kind of more to pack back there. Now we're going to cut that off at the end and kind of finish with the zip ties. We may have to take some zip ties off. We may have to redo some of this, but this is working out pretty well. So we'll go to this other corner and I'll show you how I'm doing it. So you can see I'm gonna kind of pull this, not super tight, but I'm gonna pull on it. And so when I do that, you can see this material here. Well, I don't want my seam to be on the outside. I want to push that material in, and then I want to put a zip tie through here to hold it. I put it on backwards. There we go. As I pull on this to kind of get the slack out, you can see how much material we end up with. So I'm just pushing that material back in there, and I'm gonna go, you know, probably every 6 or 8 inches for now with the zip ties. May have to redo some of this, but I'll put another tie in there. And now I'm going to take this clamp off the bottom. And again, kind of figure out where I want to tie this at. I'm going to pull on this. Somewhere in there. And I'm going to keep working my way down. My microphone quit, so I'm going to talk over the video here. I'm explaining that I decided not to cut this. Instead, I'm just going to take all the excess material and organize it in a straight line and zip tie it. I decided to do this because cutting it was going to take a while, and I didn't know how it was going to look with it being cut. It's almost like I would have to have a zip tie at every junction. So I decided to do this. Also, I point out in the video at the top here that the only place that this material is actually tied to the frame is at the very top. Everywhere else it's loose on the frame and it's just held on the bottom with the bungee. So here I'm showing that I've cut the excess material off, but I've left enough material hanging down at the bottom. That way when I do put the bungee through, it can kind of get sucked underneath the board there. This is a 3/8 diameter bungee, It has a braided nylon sleeve over it. I believe it's nylon, some sort of material. And when I initially thread this through, I'm skipping like every 4 to 6 spots in the netting. If I could go back, I would actually put it through every spot in the netting, going in and out like I'm sewing. Because at the end you'll see I have to use zip ties to hold it to the bungee so it's not sagging in some spots. And here's a close-up of threading it through. Like I said before, I'm skipping around on it. If I could go back, I would thread it like a needle through every spot in and out. This just give it a better look, a better finished look, and then you wouldn't have to use zip ties like I did at the end. I've got the bungee put on. There's a few things that I want to do just to make it look better. But first, I'll show you how the bungee works, and then what I think we're going to need to do to finish it off. So first, I pull the corners off. So now we're wanting to access our garden area. So now that the corners are off, I'm going to slide this end up. And I think we may need some hooks up here to kind of hook it to. Not for sure. And it really depends on your trellis setup. But now we've got it raised up. And so now you can either raise it up higher, or you can get in here and work your garden. So let me put it back down so we can kind of see how that looks. So not too bad. A few things I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and curl this around and put some zip ties on here just to kind of finish that off, make it look a little nicer. I'm going to work on these corners some more. I'll cut the zip ties, probably add a few more, and we'll come back and we'll take a look at the finished product. So we've finished with the critter proof single planter here with the trellis. And some thoughts after finishing. It wasn't that hard of a project. We ended up using about 125 zip ties. To go over costs, this netting is a heavy-duty netting. It was $100, but you could almost do 2 of these with 1 piece. And where was that purchased from? Man Lake. Yeah, it was purchased from Man Lake. If you look them up, I think they have some beekeeping stuff also. This is the smaller size here. So this is about a 1 inch by 1 inch. The bungee was about, I think, like $10 or $15 for 50 foot. May have been $20 for 50 foot. We ended up using half that, about 20 foot, 25 foot. The zip ties, probably $7 or $8. Just actually purchased them today from MFA. The corners, we ended up just taking all the excess into the corners and zip tying it, just so we didn't have to cut it. But if you wanted to cut yours, you could maybe clean the corners up a little bit. I don't mind this. It seems like it doesn't look too bad, especially with these black corners. Again, if you purchase your netting, get black. You can see through black very easily. It's not harsh on the eyes. As far as critter proof, birds aren't going to get in here. Squirrels won't get in here. Raccoons, if they bite through, they can get in. But I don't think that they would do that unless you had chickens in here. I don't think they're going to try to get in there after tomatoes and such. So again, I'll show you how it goes up. So first I take the corners off. And then I'll slide these up. And this really depends on your setup, what type of trellis you have. You may build one out of wood, but you can take it all the way up like this. And then that gives you room to work in here. And then to come back down, it's just kind of the reverse. And with this netting, this stuff is going to last a really long time. I think this had a estimated 10-year lifespan on the netting. I don't know what type of material it's made out of, but it definitely seems pretty durable. So I'll get it hooked around the corners. Also, having the wood bench on the bottom kind of gives me something to secure that band around. So without that, you would have to come up with a different way to secure it. But I don't think you could keep a kiddo caged up in here. They'd probably get out. But it's definitely going to keep everything off your vegetables or whatever you're growing in there. So next step for us with this bed is to level it out, fill it, and we're getting close to spring now, so we'll be growing pretty soon. That's it for this video, so hope you enjoyed it. Catch us next time.